Hey guys, it is Kat, and we're here once again to do another Poly V Diary, my little series on here where I talk about, what's going on in my life and, different things that I'm experiencing, being somebody who is dating polyamorously. So largely it's just kind of about me dating. um, so like most of my videos, I'm sitting here getting ready for a date. Now it is 5 o'clock. I have to be somewhere by 6:30. So if it gets to like six o'clock, like if I'm here for like an hour and I'm not gone, like please drag me because I need to be out. I need to be like not here when it's that time. So interestingly enough, this is gonna kind of fit in with the subject we're gonna talk about because I'm getting ready to go on a date with a guy who has never been out with a trans woman. One of these poly guys that I've told you guys I'm trying to avoid, who is, white liberal dude, lots of, fancies himself, progressive, knows trans women, but has never dated a trans person. Married. All the things I've told you guys I'm trying to avoid. But here I am. And you know what? So I guess it's a good way to start this conversation. So I've been telling you guys that I have a pretty hard line about not dating men who are not experienced with trans women. Right. And I do kind of have that line. I mean, that is definitely a pretty distinct and strong line for me. Only because when I date somebody who is experienced with transgender women, I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to go over shit. We have an understanding of each other and who we are. And there's no weirdness or an added layer of like explanation. It is just two people interacting with each other in a very natural and normal way, working towards understanding and getting to know each other in a way that most people do. And I've talked about in the past when I've just gone out with guys who were looking for a trans girl. A lot of those people were not people who I really got along with, Those were people who were there and we were both looking for a similar thing, and people who looked like us and who were like us, but we weren't equally yoked, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? We weren't. So, going on a date with a guy who is inexperienced or has never dated a trans girl is a pretty aggravating thing for me, right? But one of the realizations I've kind of come to is that I need to, I guess, be a little bit more. Here's the thing. I'm a very specific person trying to date a very specific person with a very specific list of experiences. I'm trying to date somebody who is kinky, who is dom, who is poly, and who is experienced with transgender women, right? I think that if I meet a man who has most of those things, but not one of them, that's still okay. And for the vast majority of the men that I meet, they're dom, they're kinky, but they've never dated a trans girl. And so enter my date tonight and my date for tomorrow. So I wanted to talk about this because it was like it was a conversation that I hadn't had with someone in a while, because I've been a little bit more direct with men about shit I don't like. And I've always been pretty direct. I mean, all of my dating profiles read like a fucking endless list of disclaimers and don't contact me if you're this, don't contact me if you're that. Because bitch, I just really like to save my fucking time. I really like to save my fucking time. And a realization I've come to have in life is that 27-year-old Catherine, who has a YouTube channel and a large following, cannot really do the shit that 21-year-old Catherine could do where she really tries really hard to conceal that she's trans, and then, you know, wants to get to a point with a guy where she opts into telling him. I can't really do that anymore. I have a following. I have a modicum of internet fame. I just can't do that anymore. And I don't want to do that anymore. So it kind of ends up working out. But at the same time, that makes dating a little more complicated for me because plenty of men can date a girl who looks like me. But when it comes to maybe dating a girl who is a little bit more is well known or is recognizable, that might be a problem. Right? And so I matched with this guy on OkCupid, right? And the first message he sent me, and this is a message I get a lot from men who read my profile, is, you know, hey, I think you're really, really pretty, and I would really love to go out with you, but you know, I don't think I'm everything you're looking for. You know, I think that maybe I can't do all the things that you're looking for. I don't think that we're totally aligned. And I was like, so in what ways are we not aligned, right? And common answer I get when men send me that exact response is, well, I'm not experienced with transgender women. And here's the thing with me and that, and the reason why I feel that way, because there was a time in my life where if you never had experience with trans women, I just thought that was the best thing ever. I just felt like that was the most awesome thing in the world, that you were making an exception for me, sort of shit. But bitch, I'm 27 years old, okay? I'm almost 65. I don't have the time anymore to like sit around and wait for a guy. And my biggest thing, and I've talked about this with the guy that I'm going on a date with tonight, I'm really resistant to power imbalances in relationships. I don't like being in a situation where I'm having to convince you of something about me that I don't convince most people in my daily life. I don't have to go through a life where, you know, I don't go through life convincing people that I'm a woman. It just is accepted and there's no questions or challenges. So I'm not really interested in what I see as lowering myself and bringing myself down to a level where I need to explain to you why I am how I am, how everything got here, so that you can finally accept what most people do, that I am a woman and you are a man, and insert Shania Twain lyric here. I'm just not interested in doing that. And when I was younger and I was dating guys, it was like, that was so much part of what we were doing. It was a lot of, well, you know, why don't you act this way and present yourself that way so that I can do this thing where I tell you, oh my God, you're so this, and oh my God, you're so that. And when you're, you know, when you're where I was at the time, it feels really good to have that validation, right? Of a man, you know, telling you, oh yes, of course you're a woman. You get older, you realize men don't know what the fuck they're talking about 90% of the time. And they are not the gatekeepers of what a woman is. Women themselves define who the fuck they are, right? But when you're younger and you don't know any fucking better, and I think this is not too unlike the journey a lot of cis women go through of understanding that their gender and who they are is not based on what men think about them. You just kind of get to the point where you're like, I'm not going to sit here and convince you anymore. This is what it is. And you can either keep it or leave it. You know, you're not going to get me to lower myself to a point where I'm having to explain myself to you. It's just not going to fucking happen. And so that's where I'm at in life, where I'm not going to fucking explain myself to you, right? But that being said, I think I've had to, after a lot of months of going on dates and shit, I think I have to sort of accept that the vast majority of men don't have experience with trans women and aren't going to be able to have experience. Now, I'm of the mindset, I've talked about this before, and I'm sure this is going to sound really problematic, Because you guys know that I dated this guy for a bit who had no experience with trans women. We met at this poly meetup and we dated for like 3 months and never had sex. I got to hear him talk to me about having sexy time with women who he's known less than me. And you know, got to listen to him fucking, you know, talk about all these experiences he was having with other women that he was so nervous about having with me, but we were dating. It was just this weird thing where I felt like I had to wait my turn and then convince him that it was worth it, right? And our relationship ended and I was kind of like okay with that because I didn't want to be waiting in the wings, but I made the decision to engage with him and to sort of go on these dates because I was like, well, let me give him a chance, right? And so I am a little tired of being put in that situation. At the same time, I also know that the vast majority of men are in that situation where they've known of trans women, they have seen trans women, but they've never had the opportunity to actually date one. And so for me, I'm trying to learn to be a little bit more. It's kind of an experiment between you and I. It's kind of an experiment. I don't know if it's worth it or not really. I'm very inclined to say it's not worth it for me to give these guys a chance because just my experience with men who are inexperienced is just so terrible. So terrible. I had one guy who I dated after my ex where he was not experienced with trans women at all. And we went on a couple of dates. We had sex. Sex was great. And nothing from that point forward was weird. We dated. We had a good time with each other. Really, we stopped dating because he wasn't polyamorous and me being poly made him uncomfortable. You know, but we ultimately had a good time with each other. We had a good time, right? But that was like one out of maybe like 50 times I've like made the decision to like hang out with a guy who doesn't know hang out with a guy who's inexperienced with trans women, and it's worked out. And given those odds, is it worth it? Because here's the thing, here's what I've experienced. There are these men who are curious, right? And because I'm there first, I'm going to be the first person who they freak out with. I've had situations with men where things have gone sexual. And then, one sec. Actually, let me text the guy that I'm talking about right now to make sure we're meeting tomorrow. One sec. Fuck, I've totally lost my train of thought. I completely lost it. What was I saying? Someone put it in the comment section. Oh, also, the foundation I use is Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless. That's what I use. Fuck, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh my God. Anyway, I just, am I inclined to say that giving these guys a chance? No. My experience is often I go and do this. I meet a guy who is inexperienced with trans women, right? I give them a chance, you know, I sit down with them and, you know, try to go out with them and stuff. And maybe sex happens and they freak out. They completely freak out. They completely flip out, you know? And what sucks about that is in the situations I'm talking about, these were men who liked me. These were men who I got along with, who we had a really decent copacetic relationship with, who were compatible with me. We hung out and we were great with each other. But when we had sex, they freaked out. They had this weird mental thing where they just couldn't, where they just could not reasonably do it, you know? And I have just in my time on this earth just become so resistant to even putting myself in that position again, where I'm talking to a guy. We like each other. We get along really well. Whatever, whatever. But he can't accept that I'm trans and flips out and freaks out. And now I'm stuck with the thought process of, well, if I weren't trans, he would love me. If I weren't trans, he would be with me. If I weren't trans. And that's not the sort of thing I want in my mind right now. Because, you know, as much as being born cis would have been easier or whatever, I'm who I am today. And I can't look at what ifs and what could be. I am a trans woman. I need to be with men who are affirming of that point and are not going to try to make me feel like I should make myself smaller for them. Right? And being with a man who is attracted to you, who likes everything about you with the exception of you being transgender, it's a very it's not a healthy cycle to be in. And it's a very easy and common one to be in because there's plenty of men who are attracted to trans women. Right? Trans women are some of the fucking most beautiful women in the world. And there are plenty of men who like women who are attracted to them as women. But when you're with someone who ultimately doesn't really fucking like you, it's just not a really healthy space to be in. So anyway, matched with this guy on Tinder, not Tinder, on OkCupid. And he was cute. And like I told you, his first message to me was, you know, I think you're cool, but I don't think we're completely matched because I don't have everything you're looking for. And, you know, when I asked what he meant, he said, oh, you know, because I've never been with a trans girl, you know. And so we talked or whatever and chatted about it. And he tells me that he's told his friends. Now, he is one of these, like, very liberal Jewish guys in Los Angeles. I don't know what it is about me since I moved out to LA, but I've dated hella Jewish guys since I moved to LA. And it's just noticeable because I don't think there were a lot of Jewish guys in Orange County. Or at least I didn't know any of them. But, you know, he's one of these, you know, these liberals who, you know, he's got a lot of very progressive friends. Right. But when he told his friends that he liked trans women, they didn't really have like the best reaction to it. Like they were totally accepting of gay people. They're totally accepting of trans people on their own. And they're totally accepting of, you know, the LGBTQIA+ community, but they couldn't wrap their mind around him being a straight guy dating transgender women. You know, like that was a big issue for them. It was just a confusing thing for them. And so he told me that. And one of the big reasons, now I think I've talked to you guys a little bit recently about like why I've sort of been preferring to date men who are pansexual or who are bisexual. And one of the big reasons for that is because I am absolutely resistant to the idea of having to reinforce a man's sexuality. I used to do that shit. I used to play into that shit. 27-year-old Catherine, who's got her own fucking shit going on for her, who's doing her own fucking thing, really doesn't have patience to reinforce your sexuality. If you don't understand or know your sexuality before you've met me, there's really not much we can do with each other. Side note, I've been doing my makeup in the webcam this whole time. I don't know how good my makeup looks, and I really shouldn't be testing that when I'm in a rush. But actually, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. But yeah, so when he was telling me this, I was getting a little frustrated because I don't want to date someone who's too afraid to introduce me to his friends. And not only that, but I don't want to date someone who would make me feel like I need to hide a part of who I was so that he could maintain his fucking image. I'm really not interested in doing that. I'm truly and honestly not. And on top of all that, one sec. Oh, he hasn't responded to my text message. And on top of all that, I'm a YouTuber, okay? And I told you guys recently about how I just had an audition for a major television show on a major network. I don't know if I'm going to get that. I don't know, you know, what the situation with that is going to be. But if I do get that, that's going to mean that I'm going to have a lot more notoriety than I do now. I'm going to have a ton, way more people are going to know who I am now. Way, way, way more people. And so the reality is I can't date anyone who couldn't put up with that. I cannot date someone who would be so paranoid about people knowing that I would feel like I should make myself smaller. You know, I'm not going to do that. I am just not going to do that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know? So whoever I date right now really needs to be comfortable with people knowing that he likes transgender women. Because I told you guys about this other day when I went on a date. I was sitting at a bar with a date, and these people, the waiter came over and said, "Oh, you know, these girls are at this other table. They're really, really huge fans of yours, and they wanted to send you a drink." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." And my date was like, "You're huge. They're fans of yours. Are you famous? Like, what's going on?" Because for context, I try really hard not to talk about work. I like allude to myself being a blogger and a speaker, but I don't get super specific, and not out of shame, but because I'm a pretty Googleable person, and I would rather people who are interested in dating me just get to know me and not who you think you're seeing on social media. I think it's probably hard to explain to people, but like, I think if you're only knowing me through online, you're not really getting a good, well, not good image. You're not getting an accurate image of who I am. I mean, fuck. I see a lot of the same people in this room right now who are always in my rooms. Y'all see me like this almost every day. Y'all are used to seeing me in this particular space where I'm on here, makeup list, not really giving too much of a fuck. Is this who I am to most people who meet me outside of the internet? Absolutely not. This is only part of me. And so anyone who dates me, I feel you gotta know me and like me, you know, and not what you think of me. I don't date fans. I don't date people who follow me. I've had 2 attempts of doing that. They both turned out really not so great. I would much rather not. Would much rather not. And so I like it when men don't know who I am. I really, really like it when men don't know who I am. So anyway, I was talking to this guy about this. And I was very like, look, okay, so if your insecurity is your friends knowing that you're dating me, here's what we're gonna do. Here's the only way I'm gonna meet you, is if on our first date, you take me to a place where you know a lot of people. Which is not a request I would generally make, but I'm 100% not going to sit around and be with someone who is going to want to hide me. Now, I'm not someone who wants to be seen all the time. I'm not someone who needs everyone to fucking know shit about me. But I'm not going to date someone who is going to sit around and worry about people judging them because of me. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And of course, the worry of being judged because of who you're with is a very normal concern. But bitch, I don't have the patience for that. I truly and honestly don't. I truly and honestly don't. I'm not going to shoulder your insecurities. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to fucking do it. So anyway, we had a lot of conversations about that. And the whole time we're talking, you know, I'm basically grilling him. We get to this lull in the conversation where we basically make a decision to give it a shot and we're going to go on a date and da-da-da-da-da. And so he gives me his full name to look him up on Facebook and add him on Facebook or whatever. And so I just Google his name and a shitload of stuff pops up. And he's an actor. And he's not like a lot of actors I've seen in LA where, you know, he's an actor, you know, where there's a lot of people in LA who do acting and they've never been in anything. And not to say that not being in anything means you're not an actor. It's more like I'm not used to seeing IMDb credits on most actors who say they're actors in LA. A lot of people I've met, they've not done anything significant, right? And so looking him up, he's got all this shit. I'm like, whoa, you're an actor. Like, you're clearly an actual actor. And so I started like looking at his stuff and watching his stuff, and he seems like a really fun guy. And the whole time he's trying to figure out who I am and like what my situation is. Now, my dating profiles are tied to my private Instagram account. And on my private Instagram account, when I went to Southwest Love Fest, I took a picture of the little name tag I had and put that on my private Instagram account. Now, a private Instagram account, it's mostly people who know me in real life. It's mostly people who have met me out at clubs. It's mostly people who I know from the bar. It's people who know me in real life and probably have no clue about my blogger life. Not that I'm hiding it. It's just that's not really how I talk about myself, right? And so I think he went through my Instagram and saw my work name and then Googled Kat Black and then, you know, was trying to send me some like interesting messages like, oh, he was like, so what should I put your name as, you know, in your phone? Should I put it as Kat or Catherine? And I said, oh, you know, I introduced myself as Catherine, but a lot of people know me as Kat or whatever. And then he was like, oh, should I put it as Kat Black? And I was like, okay. And so then he was watching my videos and he told me that he really likes my videos and da-da-da-da-da. And my concern was not that he would hate my videos. It was more of like, I just wanted you to meet me before you watch my fucking videos. You know what I mean? Like, that's all. That's all. I'm not ashamed of my videos. I put them out there. I think they're really good. But I would rather you just meet me. Do you know what I mean? It's just meet me as opposed to, you know, getting to know me through videos. Anyway, let me do my eyeliner. Let's focus because we're making pretty good time. It's only 5:29. All right, let's get this eyeliner. I've been doing my eyeliner like every fucking day because of YouTube, and so I've just gotten better at doing it. I'm still trash though. I'm still trash. I love the grandma face I always do whenever I do anything on my eyes. Like I can't help but do it. You have good eyelids for it though. Thank you. What eyeliner brand is this? This is Elf, girl. I'm broke. I'm not broke, but whatever. I spend money like I'm broke though. That Elf eyeliner. Oh, hello. Ah, oh, Chuck, the kids. Oh, God. Ah, ah. Oh my God. I'm not gonna tell you guys that. That's too messy. Let me stop. Never mind. You ever do that where you're about to like? It wasn't even shady. It was just like not anyone else's business. My mom used to always tell me that I can't hold cold. I can't hold hot water. Like I cannot. Like never tell me a secret, bitch. Never tell me a secret. I will literally tell someone. I won't tell people immediately, but I'll tell them eventually. Never tell me a secret. Never. Don't trust me is what I'm saying. Oh, bitch, look at this technique. I bet your mom doesn't even know how to do that. I bet she doesn't. Oh, okay, so what was I fucking saying? So anyway, like I don't know what's gonna happen with that guy because we're supposed to go on a date tomorrow and he has not texted me back. Your voicemail is so hilarious. I was just calling to verify rather that we are hanging out tomorrow. So just let me know. I'm gonna be around going out in just a second, but yeah, text me, just let me know. All right, bye. Because bitch, if I'm not going out, so listen, I think I told you guys yesterday, I have a date like every day this week. I went on a date yesterday. I have a date tonight. I have a date tomorrow with him. Then Thursday I have a date. And Friday I have a free day. Saturday I'm going to this concert. And I think I'm going on a date. I don't know what it is. There's this guy that I always see at the clubs I go to. And he's a really, really sweet guy. He's actually a Buddhist monk, which is interesting. And I don't know, we've kind of talked in the past about cuddling, but he clearly really likes me. And I kind of like him, but I also don't know that much about him. You know, like when you see people out at the club, you only know them in that space. I don't know how well we get along in person or outside of clubs, but we'll see. He was like, well, since we're both going to the same concert, like maybe I can come pick you up. I was like, oh, I guess that would be nice. But I'm kind of on the fence about it because usually I pre-party before I go out, which means I go to like my bar and I go to the thing after. But honestly, this event is at 8 o'clock. So, and knowing my late, tired ass, I'm always late to every fucking event. So I feel like I should probably maybe it would be a good idea to have like a reason to get ready way ahead of time. What time is it right now? Don't call people who ignore your text. You know what? So funny story about that. I used to get very, so bitch, I used to be the kind of person who would leave people these long, dramatic voicemails. And I've just learned not to be that aggro, just not to be that. Some people are busy, some people are working. He's an actor, he might be on set. You know, I don't need to do that. But to be honest with you guys, he was the last person who text messaged me because I asked him like what videos of mine he had watched, and he was like, "Oh, I watched the Why I'm Not a Feminist Anymore video and the what the one he said, the Legal Fling video." I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't respond to that. I responded in my head, and I didn't actually message him. So technically, I ignored his message. So you know, I just wanted to get a response. But you know, he's a guy who's not been with a trans girl. I kind of told him, I was like, look, I think you and I might be really cool. Let's see. But if you're in a position where you think you might have a negative reaction to my body, let's just not go on a date. Like, let's just not start. Let's just not start, you know, because I would rather keep it there than like go on a date and be pissed off. You know what I mean? And he was basically begging to hang out with me. So I feel like we're going to see each other tomorrow. But if we don't, I'm going to be completely okay. It'll just be a free day. I'll have a day off. Like, this is my fucking job. I really should stop. I should calm the fuck down with dating. I have a problem. I really fucking do. All right. Literally, as I'm on this talk, I'm getting another message from a guy on OkCupid who I've been interested in hanging out with. Now he wants to see me. Ooh. One sec. Another married kinky guy who's never been with a trans girl is talking to me. That's most men. Most men read my profile and they're like, kinky, yes. Poly, yes. Experience with trans women, no. And so I don't know. All right, bitch. Let's get some gloss on you, put some clothes on, and call this Lyft, and then get there early, and then bitch and moan about how he's late. Let's do that. Let's get to that level of like shitty and terrible. Ah. Oh, I define kinky in my profile. I'm very direct. Like, for example, I just matched with this guy on Tinder, and he was like, "Oh, I read that you're kinky. Do you want to dress me up and fuck me?" I'm like, I told him like that. You literally just described the complete opposite of what I'm into. Like, I'm really not into cross dressers. I'm really not into listen, bitch, I could make a whole other video about why I think forced feminization is disgusting. But like, you know, that's your kink. I guess like I have to be open-minded to it, but like I hate forced feminization so much. I hate it with so much passion. Oh my fucking God. What I hate about forced feminization probably the most is the way that people who make content about forced feminization take the images of trans women and describe them as men, describe them as boys. I think that's so fucking gross. You know, and I know that I've had a couple of times in my YouTube career where I have talked about this shit. Cross-dressers just fucking girl. I can't. Whoop, whoop. They're coming after me. They're already coming after me. See, this is why, you know, YouTube is just so fucking politically correct these days. I don't like to put people in a position where I'm making them feel like crap, you know, like that's your little fucking kink, that's your little fucking fetish, like good for you. Who the fuck is sending me a picture? Girl. Oh, someone drew me. Oh, it's so cool. Someone made art of me. That's so cute. Oh, come on, focus camera. Wow. Anyway. I think cross-dressers are gross. Please leave me alone. That's like, because you know what? I hate being a bitch like that, but like, please leave me alone. Like, cross-dressers are so fucking aggressive too. Like, you can't tell a cross-dresser that you don't want to fucking talk to them or be around them because they will curse you out and act like you are the fucking asshole. Like, girl, I'm not trying to piss anyone off, okay? I'm not trying to get, you know, a lot of cross-dressers are very powerful people. They're usually very powerful white men who have a lot to say. And I don't want listen, and I don't want to piss anyone off. I don't want to piss anyone off, you know? I'm a bad person. Why do you guys even watch me? I'm just a terrible person. Oh my god. So if this date, oh girl, I'm about to really overshare with you guys right now. I'm about to really overshare. And while I'm oversharing, I'm gonna get naked and change so I can get out the fucking house. So I'm currently only sleeping with 2 men. One of them is Soldier, who I've mentioned before. He's the guy that's like, he's pansexual. I've been having the best sex of my fucking life with him. He's great. The other guy is this Jewish guy who I've been seeing for a bit. He's just so fucking sexy to me. He's an entrepreneur. He has his own fucking business. But he's not polyamorous, and I don't know if I would say we're dating. I would say that we go on dates. But we've been really enjoying each other's time and company or whatever. And so I see him from time to time. Soldier is currently in the middle of a move right now. He's with one of his partners. But if you've been following my vlogs, you know Soldier is the guy who I had an STD scare with. And he got retested. He's all clean now. So I'm about to get some good dick again. But I know this day I'm going out with this guy is super early. And from what and so I told the Jewish guy I'm seeing, I said, you know, because he asked me earlier today, like, oh, what are you up to? Do you want to hang out? And I was like, I have a date. Well, I didn't tell him I had a date. I told him I was busy, which is true. You know, so we're gonna hang out later, and inevitable when we hang out, we go on like a nice date. We usually go to like a bar or like a restaurant or something. What we've been doing a lot of is eating Korean barbecue. We've been eating so much fucking Korean barbecue. Like every time we see each other, it's Korean barbecue. We're probably gonna, I don't know, we might go to a bar still. But basically what I'm trying to say is I'm probably gonna go on this date, and the date's probably gonna go well because I'm a great date. And then I'm gonna go see him, and you know, that'll be that. We've been talking a lot about going to this barcade, so maybe we'll do that. I don't know what we're gonna end up doing, but we'll see. I feel less bad about going on so many dates now because I'm you know, I'm working again. I've been working on an animatic for my first video when I come back, and I've been feeling pretty good about that stuff. Which, side note, if you are, I'm not going to announce this publicly, but I will say it here for my hardcore fans who are watching these videos. If you're really curious about what the next video I'm going to end up posting is going to be, I've decided that I'm going to post the animatic on my Patreon. If you guys are my Patreon patrons already. So yeah, look out for that if you're a Patreon patron. And my animatic is gonna be like a reference for me and like all the art stuff I'm gonna be doing for the videos. So, you know, don't get too excited because it's just really a reference for me. But you know, it'll be a thing. Okay, now what am I wearing? This dress fucked up. I think I remember this dress being fucked up. Might be okay though. I'm gonna wear a very typical first date dress for me, which is like no titty showing or barely titty showing, very conservative. I like to fake out. I like to do a nice like, yeah, I don't even know what sex is. You know, and then like as the dates progress and as I like the guy more and as I want him inside me more often, then I, you know, show a little bit more titty. You know, just a little bit more titty each time. Just it's like a slow tit reveal. It's very that. Speaking of slow tit reveal and wanting a man inside me, I went on, I told you guys yesterday that I was getting ready for my cute date with the pansexual guy that I went on a date with a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess. I'm not good at math or time measurements. And you know, that date went really cute. He made us dinner, which was nice. And he also he made us dinner. He made us Philly cheesesteak tacos with butter lettuce, because he's been pretty big on supporting my keto diet thing. He's been pretty good at supporting my keto diet. And so he was like, I'm going to make you something keto, but also delicious. And so he made dinner, which was really, really cute. We went to go see A Quiet Place. He has like really bad anxiety and hates scary movies. But he sat through A Quiet Place with me and was a good boy. And we came home. Well, so here's what happened. We left the theater yesterday, and you guys know me. You know me. It wouldn't be a black date without me losing something. So I told you guys a little bit about the door guy, right? The door guy at the bar that I go to, who I had a thing with, but don't have one with anymore. If you guys want to know more about that, just watch the last broadcast I made, right? So I ended up leaving my card at the bar yesterday. The bar didn't open until 8 o'clock. And so I had to get in my, when he got here, him and I, after dinner, went and got into a car and went all the way down to the bar, right? So I can get my card so I can pay for shit later. And so basically what happened is we walk in, the door guy's there. And he's like really, really happy to see me. And then my date is like right behind me. And you can just see like the color in his face like drain out. Like he was like really not excited to see that I was on a date. And he extended his hand to give a handshake, but like a very limp one. Like he didn't really extend his hand at all. It was like a kind of thing. And so this guy, he's not really an asshole, but he jokes a lot. And I had not like debriefed him on all of what our relationship was. And so he gave him a hug, a really like aggressive, hard hug. And I sat down and told him later about the situation. And he was like, oh, fuck, that's why that was so fucking awkward. He's like, you should have told me. And so then we left and we went to the movies. After I got out of the movies, I realized that I had left the keys at the bar, right? Now, I had spent all day trying to call the bar to get in there to get my card that I left overnight. And I know they didn't answer their fucking phone, but whose number do I have? Whose number do I have that I knew was there? Door guy. And so I called door guy up and I'm like, hey, did you see any keys? Like my keys have a little like Dia de los Muertos girl on them and like it's a bottle opener type situation. And he looked around and he found them. And so him and I got back into a lift and went all the way back there. Now, by then, my date had already heard the whole story, the awkwardness, the whole situation. And so he was kind of being a little bit of an asshole. And they didn't hug this time. But we actually went in and got a drink. First time we went and just grabbed my shit. So yeah, that was my riveting, fun story. All right, y'all. So I'm dressed. It is 6 o'clock. I'm about to call this Lyft, and I'm gonna be on time, bitch. I'm gonna be on time. I'm gonna be on time. Can y'all believe that? Oh, and by the way, this guy got back to me. This guy got back to me. So we're going on that date tomorrow. What makes a person a great date? Just showing me a good fucking time and being a good sport. And not asking me to explain myself. You know, that's great. I love when men don't need me to explain myself and we can just talk about some real shit, like punching Nazis, you know? That was the thing with this guy. This guy's a fucking jokester. This guy's Jewish, and I was like, and he said, when I first asked him, like, why don't you think we're compatible? He was like, I guess I just like Nazis too much. Because on my profile, I say, contact me if I need someone more radical than me. Well, I'm not talking about this reason. That's just not me. Political beliefs. But I'm a little more willing to, someone who's a little bit more willing to when that needs to be done. So, and he's Jewish. He was like, of course, I'm not a Nazi sympathizer. Of course I'm not. But fuck, you never know these days, to be honest. You never fucking know. Just because you're a minority doesn't mean you don't side with the oppressor. Anyway. I'm gonna be on time, bitch. I'm gonna be on time. I'm gonna be on time. I'm gonna get there at 6:20, bitch. Listen. I'm supposed to be there at 6:30. I'm gonna get there at 6:20. See, I'm not always late. See, now watch me be real cocky and then forget something. Watch me be very, very cocky about this and completely forget something very important. All right, guys. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Matane.